Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is America. We don't like sodomy so much here.
Yeah, but the schools are good.
Whenever we this is like a thing I do in all of my notes for any movie that we watch. If whoever the person I'm attracted to in the film, I just write their name at the top of my notes. Like it'll be like Emma Thompson.
The end.
Yeah, and that's the whole note. This one just says Martin Donovan.
Wow. We should get you some gold stars to put just next to names. Gold and silver. So you can rate. Yeah, we've been on a Martin Donovan kick.
Yeah, I've been for. Well, no, I was thinking it started when we watched
Tenet.
And I know, it's terrible. Like, I think that's part of what was so disappointing about Tenet is that I either forgot or didn't realize that Martin Donovan was in it.
At all.
And then I saw him and I was like, oh fuck,
yes.
this movie's going to be amazing. And then he's in it for like 30 seconds and then he's never referenced again or seen. And I was just like expecting the movie to like get good at some point and it didn't.
Yep.
And so I was just like, my hopes shot up so fucking high when I saw Martin Donovan and I was like, oh, the movie's gonna, even if this movie sucks, Martin Donovan is gonna be in it. And then he wasn't. And so it was just like so stupid. But after that, I was like, I want to watch Martin Donovan in a movie that he's in.
I know. Blue Balls.
Seriously.
Starring Tom Selleck. And last night we watched Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Basically because again.
Oh, I was going to say again.
Oh, yeah,
he's like
barely in it.
hardly in it. Hardly in it. I just want to see Martin Donovan through the years.
Yeah.
So he's like fucking 60 something. Oh God.
And we watched The Quiet.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was kind of rough.
Yeah, that was like a movie that I liked a lot when I was younger, and then rewatching it, I was like, oh, I just liked this when I was younger because it was naughty.
Because daddy.
Yeah. Well, no, not because, but just because it's like, oh, I was like obsessed with like older men, younger women.
Right.
When I was.
That's what I meant. I mean, literally daddy.
Oh, okay.
Even though
it wasn't even in a daddy sort of way. It was just like I thought older guys were hot, and I was a young. No, just let me. I don't identify with the daddy thing, so I don't want to be associated with it. What I'm saying. I thought older guys were hot, and there were there are so few movies that like lean into that trope in any sort of way, even if it's like, oh, this is bad. It's either done in such a way that feels like creepy or like the guy is like very unattractive. So like when The Quiet came out and it was like Martin Donovan's a daddy that wants to fuck his daughter, I was like, oh fuck, this movie's really good. Whoa the bike fell.
Oh God. What's going on today?
I can't believe you didn't see that.
It barely made a noise. Yowzers.
That felt like God punishing me for being like, I really like watching incest.
That's what you get.
Yeah, but anyway, it was, rewatching it, I was like, what 22-year-old film student that didn't graduate made this? That's so mean. I've never been to film school, and I'd probably do much worse of a job. But
Well, you know who else has never been to film school? Don Roos, writer-director of the film we were talking about today, The Opposite of Sex.
Really?
Yeah.
He has it? That's so cool.
Apparently, yeah.
That's awesome. The Opposite of Sex is a movie that I watched when I was younger, and I definitely didn't get. I remember thinking, because it was, because everyone made such a big deal about it, and so I thought it was supposed to be like a
Really?
naughty, or, it was like that, an independent film.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just, in Bushnell, Florida, I heard about it, and like.
That is surprising.
Right. And so like, I'd wanted to see it, and then I watched it, and I remember being like, that's fine, I guess. It's not. And I remember being like disappointed, but rewatching it, I was laughing a lot. And
It's definitely, I laughed at it more than I expected to.
I know.
Like, I remember it being funny.
I didn't remember it being funny. I remember feeling like I wasn't getting the jokes,
Well, that's
which is
fair.
on
How old
par.
were you?
I was probably like, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you. When did it come out? 97?
I think so.
So I was like 12 when it came out. So I'm not sure when exactly I watched it. I was probably like 14 or something, 13 or 14. So yeah, none of these jokes would have.
Yeah, 97. Some things listed as 98. It's one of those.
Oh, right.
I don't know what that's about. But it's one of the first things I owned on video cassette as an adult.
That's cool.
Like, I purchased.
I
didn't buy it new.
I'm going to say I like VHS.
Sorry, Don Roos.
I like VHS as a medium for watching movies. I think it's my favorite medium to watch films. Yeah. There's just something about the way like DVDs
Nostalgia?
are fine. No, I remember when like DVDs.
DVDs are crap. They always have been, I feel like.
No, I remember when DVDs were like first coming out, and I remember being like in real time when it was like sometimes you could get stuff on VHS, sometimes it was on DVD kind of thing. I remember being like, oh, I like VHS better. Like there's just some sort of like I think it's honestly the fact that the clarity isn't quite there. There's something about that. Like digital just is too clean, and it's fine. That's fine. Like for some things, I'm not saying I don't enjoy it ever, but there's something about VHS, like watching something on a VHS tape that I'm like, yes, this is a movie. Like,
well, I'd be interested to see what it's like to watch something that was shot digitally on VHS. I don't think I ever have done that.
Yeah, that'd be
because I wonder what that would be like.
right. Yeah,
If it was shot knowing that it would be released on.
interesting. Yeah.
Because the whole thing about watching a lot of, especially 90s things when CG was new, but shot to film.
Yeah.
And now we watch it in digital formats. The CG doesn't hold
up.
up.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, because it wasn't.
It's too clean, like you're saying. It's too clear how shady it is.
How bad it
and when it
actually
was on film, some of that is masked.
Right. Yeah, because it's, I wrote down this note, and I forgot about this, but I was a teenager. I don't know how old I was. I'm gonna say I was like 15 or 16, because I know it was like a few years after it came out, so it like wasn't as big of a deal, but I'd wanted to see it, so I was like, ooh. I remember I was like a teenager, like 15 or 16, something like that. I keep changing. I'm like, I was like 13 or 14. I was like 16 or 17. I was like 15, 16 years old, whatever. Anyway, I remember, because there's the scene where, what is it? Lucia? Yeah. I can't remember how to say it.
It should be Lucia.
Yeah, it should be Lucia. And I'm like, Lucia, because that's how it's spelled. And then I'm like, no, it's something else. Anyway.
That's a much funnier gag to me now, because I'm like, yeah, it should be pronounced Lucia.
Right.
You're right. It is like Trisha.
Yeah.
I'd never heard the name Lucia.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I probably had, but, not like...
Yeah.
Certainly never met a Lucia.
Yeah.
I think that's probably still the case.
I feel like I have met a Lucia. Anyway, whatever. There's the scene where Lucia, am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay.
We just went over it.
I couldn't remember because we just said Lucia like
It's a love
17
seat.
times. So she walks in. What? What are you saying?
It's a love seat.
It's a love scene?
Seat.
Love seat. I don't
While
get
you were
it.
sleeping.
Okay.
I kept correcting you.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. I didn't remember. Call back. Okay, sorry. Yes. Lucia, like she's at like her sister's wedding or something. And
So your dead brothers?
yeah. And she
To Martin Donovan?
No, not to Martin. No.
Oh, the flashback.
Like,
when
yeah,
she's...
let me say the whole thing.
Okay, I thought you were asking for input.
No, I was saying I
Sorry.
think it's her sister's wedding. And she was like getting something. Like they keep like ignoring her, and she like goes in to get like some. She's like getting Cokes or something. I don't remember. She has like a tray of Cokes or some dumb shit. And in the car is Martin Donovan and her brother, and that's when she catches them fucking for the first time.
Oh, right.
And I have a very distinct memory. Even though I remembered it looking different, I remembered this was the first time. Because they're like, the implication is that they're fucking or something like that, or whatever, or that.
At least heavy petting.
Yeah. But they were face to face.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, you can have like anal sex facing someone.
Right.
I had no idea.
Right.
And I remember being like, oh, like mind blown.
I'm
I
sure-
was like, that was like the kinkiest thing I'd ever seen in my
Right.
life was like face to face anal or whatever. And I was just like, what? And
I'm sure I would have
Still-
just not. I would have been like, that doesn't work. They're not having sex. Clearly, because
But like I remember like anytime I think about the opposite of sex, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the film
Wow.
that taught me that you can have there's not one position for anal sex.
right on.
So thank you, Martin Donovan, for teaching me that.
And Don Roos.
Yeah. And the guy from Eureka, who is now like a Maytag commercial guy,
Oh,
who plays the brother.
right on. Shout out.
Shout out. Maybe Maytag commercial guy. Who knows? Pops up on my Pinterest a lot.
Wow.
The Maytag ads.
Wow. Really?
On my on the app on my phone.
Is it the ad campaign where it's just like he's the Maytag repairman and he has nothing to do because they're so reliable? Is that the...
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I don't honestly know what the gag is. He's just like in a
I
costume.
don't remember. Okay. Can I do credits?
Please. It's about time.
Written, directed by Don Roos. Already, I said his name a million times already.
It's okay.
He also did.
Honestly, though, Don Roos sounds like a fake.
It does.
Don Roos, also known as David Lynch. No.
Daddy Setup. Because Don is like, and then Roos like a.
I know. I get.
All right. Did you get it? I'm just going to explain all the jokes today. All right. Starring Christine Ricci, Martin Donovan, Lisa Kudrow, Lyle Lovett.
Yeah, I know.
You got to love it. Johnny Galecki of
Yeah.
Big Bang Shame. Wasn't he also on Roseanne? Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played
He was.
Darlene's boyfriend. or whatever. Even though Sarah Gilbert's a homo.
Yes.
Who's Randy?
Randy's the boyfriend.
Who's? Oh, yeah, right. Okay. William Lee Scott plays Randy. Ivan Sergey
I know.
as Matt Dillon. Yeah, what's the dead brother's name?
I don't remember.
What's Lucia's last name? Okay.
I
So Tom DeLury is the character name.
Oh.
Colin Ferguson.
Colin Ferguson, yeah. Because it sounds like
AKA Jack Carter on Eureka,
yeah.
as you said.
Colin Ferguson makes me think of like it's like he should be Craig Ferguson's little brother or
Right.
something like that. Except for he's Canadian and not like
Oh, what a rip.
not a Scotsman.
Maybe he's from Nova Scotia. No, he's from Montreal.
Montreal.
Montreal. I don't know.
Also, like, Martin Donovan is playing...
Mine French is Nick Sergout. Ni mama should die for ma.
That just sounds like... I didn't know you were going to say that, so I burped. I wasn't trying to... Whatever.
That was racist.
I know.
Stick to noodles, Z.
Is that racist? A little bit. No. I have to fart.
I gotta piss, so. All right.
I just read one of my notes. Because, like, Lucia is, like, in love with Martin Donovan, sort of, or, like, pines for him, but he's a gay man. And I said, totally typical to pine for a gay dude, but I guess I'm lucky because generally gay men sleep with me.
Wow. Brag.
Sorry, I have a few under my belt.
Well,
I think it's because I'm not, like, madly in love with him. I'm just like, okay, we can have sex. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
I mean,
I'm not going to think that you're straight now.
I genuinely sleep with gay women, so.
Well, that's fair. And they're like, I'm still gay, by the way.
Back in the Subaru.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I saw this film in the theater. I probably did. I feel like it's the right time.
Yeah. Interesting.
And
this would have been a really interesting thing to watch in the theater.
I have a lot of fond memories. I mean, I probably, it was probably whatever. I lived in Pasadena in the late 90s, and there was a great little theater. I think it was called the Academy. Mm-hmm. It was like an art house.
Yeah.
Because it would just show all these independent films, which at the time there were suddenly a lot of, it seemed like.
Yeah.
So I saw, I'm sure I've talked about it before, but I remember seeing The End of Violence, is that what it's called? This Wim Wenders movie that I keep telling you about.
Oh, yeah.
With Pullman. And Your Friends and Neighbors. Horrible. Never watched that movie. And probably this one. I can't remember what else. Don't die.
I'm so sorry.
Whatever you do, stay alive.
I've just been like chugging coffee, and I just like sucked it down the wrong pipe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been there.
Speaking of,
that's you.
Also, Martin Donovan is supposed to be 35 in this movie, which I'm like, no. He looks so good. Like, Martin Donovan is one of those people that, like, he looks so good for his age, in my personal opinion. But also, I'm like, I don't think
I imagine he's always looked a little bit older than he was to a certain point.
Yeah,
right? And that's
exactly,
why he looks
right. But I think he was, like, in his 40s. Or, like, close to 40.
Let's see, he was born in 57, we looked up.
Yes.
And this came out so he would have been around 40, yeah?
Yeah.
Close to 40.
Yeah.
So
which is fine. Not too far off. But, like, I'm 36, and I'm like, I look so much younger.
I definitely look younger than he did when I was
you look
35.
Seriously. Aw. It's around the time we met.
Was not.
Yes.
35? That was 11 years ago.
Yeah. It's like we met. Like,
when we
almost
met.
10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you meant when we first.
Not when we first put the. Well, no, you
when
didn't.
We first had face-to-face lie down kissing.
Yes. The night I broke your ribs. You're welcome. And there's like no laughter whatsoever. Like you're just like very silent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did break his ribs. Not because we fell over and I landed on top of him in the road. That's
why are you describing it in the weirdest roundabout way? I mean, it seems like you're trying to make it sound.
I'm not. I'm just like, I'm trying to emphasize it wasn't like
I was
something...
giving Z a piggyback ride. Okay? And then I fell over.
Right, but we fell over into the street.
Yes, it's true. We were in between sidewalks.
That sounds dirtier than anything. We were in between sidewalks, if you know what I mean. I just remember that I took you into the bathroom because you scraped up your knee and it was all scraped up and you finger blasted me while I was
All right. These are details the audience doesn't need to know.
I used the correct term.
I'm not saying you didn't.
Anyway.
I appreciate your attention to clinical detail. However.
Thank you. As I was saying, Martin Donovan didn't look 35 in the movie to me.
Would bang.
No, absolutely.
How do you feel about Lisa Kudrow? Sexually.
Not interested. I think Lisa Kudrow is really funny, and I like her, but there's like nothing. There's nothing there for me. It's weird because she seems like there's just something. It's just I don't. It's similar to like. I feel like I don't know. Yeah, it's just like. I don't know why. Like, because one of my favorite.
You have too much respect.
One of my favorite movies is Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion. And literally, like, the only, like, everyone that I think is hot in that movie is, like, not a main star. Like, Janine Garofalo, Alan Cumming. Oh, your boo, Trudeau, I think, is in it.
You mean Thoreau?
Thoreau, I don't know. Yes, Thoreau.
The Canadian Prime Minister is not in.
Yeah.
See, I don't even remember him being in.
Because he's just, like, hardly in it. He's, like, the guy that picks on Janine Garofalo.
Oh, okay.
Or that's how she sees him, as, like, her bully or whatever. Because he just, like, was always flicking cigarettes at her. But he was never intending. Yeah, he was, like, never intending to.
Oh.
And at the end, he just, like, asks her if she wants to, like, go out. And so she does. I don't know. It's a movie. I fucking love that movie. And mostly it was the Alan Cumming ending with the dance scene that I loved. Like, because he walks up. I remember my friend when I was a teenager, we would watch that. And he does this thing where he's looking down and he bites his lip and he looks up and he just, like, lets his, like, lip go through his teeth. And he's like, "Would you dance with me, Michelle?" She's like, "Okay."
That was really good.
Oh, and we would just, like, rewind it and watch him bite his lip over and over again.
Nice.
Because, we'd rewind that, and we'd also rewind the bit in Clueless when Paul Rudd kisses her for the first time.
Ew.
I know, whatever. We were, like, 14.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so was she in the movie.
I remember renting Cocoon multiple times so I could see the naked parts.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, not because of the old people.
I've never seen Cocoon, so all I know is that there's naked old people in it.
Yeah, well, they age backwards.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I've never seen Cocoon.
There's some young woman. There's a sequel also. Did you know that?
Oh my God, maybe. Yeah.
We should probably watch.
Yeah, we probably should.
Also, batteries not included.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my God. That sounds so
I don't know.
weird.
It looks so bad. Anyway, should we try to do a plot synopsis?
Oh, I guess sort of. I mean, like, also, I just want to say, like, the whole, like, thing where they do, like, the flashback of Lucia and how she's like fat. I never noticed that. I did not notice it all.
Yeah, it's interesting, kind of.
Because it doesn't, like, it was so weird and I mean, I think in a sense it's like, I didn't understand what that was supposed to be. I remember, I did not remember that at all. Like that she looked different.
Yeah, I don't know that I remembered that either, but
And so that was like a thing where I was like, wait,
well, basically all they do is give her like a high-waisted dress, right? Like an empress.
Yeah, and they like
empire waist.
Well, I think they make her
and pat her.
I think they just pat her up a little bit, but
like only her belly, basically, right?
No, I think they make her tits bigger too.
Okay. I thought you were going to refer to the scene where they're like, Lucia, come here, and then they put their empty glasses on whatever she.
Yes. Oh my god.
So good.
That was so.
Her character is probably my favorite, and I think
interesting.
Was from the get-go. And I remember when I first watched this, I'm like, oh. You know, it's one of those moments when you realize, like, somebody who's famous can act besides the thing they got famous for.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I feel like Lisa Kudrow, like, truly, because of Phoebe, kind of got typecast as, like, you're a dumb idiot.
Yeah, kind of an airhead.
And she's actually really funny. And she's like, really
funny.
good comedic timing. Yes. And, she can deliver a line like so really well, like and in a way that I wouldn't imagine. Like she's just really good at like kind of a surprise delivery.
She's so good in this movie.
It's
so believable.
Yeah,
her character and how she delivers.
Yeah, I think I remember not relating to her at all when I was like the first watch that I had of this as a youngster, and being like I related to her being like, because I was like absolutely sex repulsed as a youngster, despite the fact that I like obsessed over like watching movies where older men were like having full on sex with like 16-year-old girls, and I was like, yes, I want to rewatch this 1,000 times. I literally was like, sex
smash cut to you describing Frank Langella in Lolita.
Literally. And like, but like if that had actually, like, if I was in that situation, there would be no sex because I was disgusted by sex. So like, I remember being like relating to that, but then she ends up having sex,
right,
with Lyle Lovett, and I was like, I don't get this movie at all. And I was just like,
Betrayal.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what? He's not Martin Donovan. I don't understand. What the fuck? I don't get it. And yeah.
Well, I remember the thing that I was very proud of myself, and that's why one of the reasons I got attached to this movie was I remember like the the longer monologue that Christina Ricci, Dee Dee, gives at the end where she's just walking away.
Yeah.
She's like, there's got to be something, the opposite of sex is what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she's now more like Lucia. They traded places, kind of. And I was like, whoa. I figured that out on my own. I'm very proud of myself. And now I'm like, no, that's not exactly what happens. And
yeah.
I mean, Dee Dee's character is hypersexualized. She hypersexualizes herself.
Right.
That includes explicit references to pedophilia, like she's been abused sexually by a parent.
Yeah.
Or a step parent. I don't remember. Whatever. That's like the opening scene, basically, right?
Yeah.
Her describing that has happened.
Yeah,
it's not graphic.
Yeah. Also,
explicitly referenced.
Also, Dee Dee is someone that's like all her narration and basically most of her dialogue is just saying extremely offensive things and seeming like she doesn't understand why people are offended by it, which sounds awful, but it's actually so funny because she is like a 16-year-old kid, and there's a lot of like, what this is offensive, like what, like. Where it feels like, to me, I took it more as like she's trying to exert her adultness and she's actually getting everything wrong.
Yeah.
You know? And so it works. I think that's why I found it so funny, because I'm like, yeah, this sounds like a dumb kid trying to sound like a full-grown adult with like all their ideas intact, like, oh, I already know everything, you don't have to explain it to me, and then getting it all wrong, and you're like, oh Lord, my God. So it was so funny to me the way she would describe stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And she's supposed to be a bit of a hick, right? Because she's from backwoods, Louisiana.
Exactly. Yeah.
Coming to big city, South Bend, Indianapolis, Indiana.
That's also something I didn't realize. I think because they end up in like L.A. or whatever, like when they follow her. So for whatever reason, I thought the whole movie took place there.
Also,
that's how I
because
remember.
it's clearly shot there.
Well, that too. Yes. Because it doesn't look any different. So like how I remembered it was that she just goes to L.A. and then.
That's where the rest
and
of
for whatever reason, in my head, like I know that Martin Donovan, like in the movie, he's actually a school teacher or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, oh right, he made like this is how I remembered it from like I watched it one time as like a teenager. I was like, right, he makes movies or whatever, and that's how she starts sleeping with this guy.
Hot guy.
Yeah. Like, no, not at all. I did not remember.
Sergey. How is that dude's name?
Yeah.
Also, he's in the two first name club.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He is. Why are you sorry?
I mean, the Disruptor Train.
Oh, you weren't. I was just laughing because I was like, that's not at all what the movie. There's nothing like that in this at all.
What?
There's no one's making a movie. I don't know what the fuck I thought.
Well, there is a lot of media attention for a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay.
Yeah, plot synopsis. Christina Ricci plays...
She's our narrator, first of all.
Unreliable.
Regular narrator. Yeah, I tried to read stuff about unreliable narrators as a literary device after we watched this movie, basically just this morning. Yeah. I didn't find anything that was terribly insightful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's all. Usually it's a device to set up a twist ending, right? Like The Usual Suspects. Classic example.
Guys are so say. Anyway.
Yeah. But I can't tell if I like it in this movie. I mean, it definitely leads to some comedic elements, her narration. Mm-hmm. But then there's the moments where, like, she's like, of course I don't die. I'm narrating, guys.
Yeah.
Which, there are definitely movies where the narration is by a character who has died.
Yeah. Apparently, like Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard, most famously. Which is
American
referenced
Beauty.
Yeah, right. Sunset Boulevard is referenced in everything we watch. Like, anytime it's an opening scene with a body floating in a pool, that's Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
That movie holds up.
I haven't seen it.
I only watched it a couple years ago. Also, we watched Saved.
Yes.
I just remembered that. Speaking of Martin Donovan.
Yeah. Ugh, can't get enough, honestly.
Pastor Skip.
Oh, God, so good. But let's not talk about that.
Okay. Christina Ricci comes from Louisiana.
Yeah, she's an unreliable narrator or whatever. I think we got on a tangent about that.
She moves away on the occasion of her father's passing.
Stepfather.
Okay.
I think her papa died when she was young, I think. And her dad and Martin Donovan, she and Martin Donovan have the same dad.
Oh, that's what it is.
Because they're like half siblings or whatever.
Cousins.
And so, half cousins.
They're not siblings, are they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
What's her brother?
They have the same dad. Okay.
Yeah, that would make them not cousins.
All right. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah. So.
No.
What?
Her dad and Martin Donovan had the same.
What?
Is that what you're saying?
No, she and Martin Donovan had the same dad.
Wild.
And because he was older, because Martin Donovan's like 20 years older than her. And she only knew him a little bit when she was a kid. Like, she only saw him. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, so she looks him up.
Yeah, she goes to find, like, her stepdad
Imagine a
dies.
time before mobile phones.
Right. Imagine a time before looking people up on the internet, too.
Yeah.
Her stepdad dies, and she leaves. She runs away from her mom and goes and finds Martin Donovan and asks him if she can stay with him. And she, like, hated her stepfather.
Family.
Well, she hated her stepfather, but she, like, kind of paints a picture that she, like, her and her mother like grieving and like they like being together with each other's grief is like too heavy or whatever. So he's like, okay, you can live with me for a little while. But Martin Donovan has like a younger boyfriend who's like young and hot, and she I don't want to say seduces him, but
Right.
because that makes, but like she like really really tries to get him to sleep with her, and like it's humorous because she's like, she pulls like, how do you know you're gay if you've never slept with a girl thing, and he's like, what, and she's just like, cranking it to 100, and then they like hook up and she's like, oh, I'm pregnant, and then hijinks
Classic.
ensue. Yeah, but then like they tell Martin Donovan and Lucia, because Lucia plays, so Martin Donovan is a gay whose partner, like they were together and his partner died of AIDS, and Lucia was his partner's sister, and Lucia basically his partner left him lots of money, and he has like a house he's taken care of. Right. And Lucia is, like basically just comes in as she pleases and like makes herself at home and like kind of not dotes, but like
it's just a real fag
yeah.
hag.
What?
A real fag hag.
Yes, exactly. The epitome of that trope. But she like inserts herself into his life in a really unhealthy kind of way. And it's implied that she like has feelings for him or something, or like
right,
or something, like she's just like, something's going on there. And then when Lucia and Martin Donovan, I don't remember what I don't care what the film name is. He's Martin Donovan, so whatever.
Yeah.
When they find out about the baby, Christina Ricci and Ivan Sergei run away together to LA. But Martin Donovan like obsesses over it, and like while
first of all, they don't know, right? They just kind of disappear.
Yeah, they disappear and they don't know where they've gone. But while they're gone, his boyfriend Ivan Sergei is like some guy who either is in a it's unclear because he's calling himself Ivan Sergei's boyfriend, but like later on Ivan Sergei's like, no, that's not true at all. But then they end up getting together in the end, so whatever. It's kind of confusing, but he comes into Martin Donovan's
Played
life.
by Johnny Galecki.
Yes, Johnny Galecki, and he's like,
great, by the way.
Oh my god, I fucking love him. And he's just like, what have you done with him? I haven't heard from him. So he threatens to like ruin Martin Donovan's life if he doesn't get him in touch with Ivan Sergei. And Martin Donovan's like, I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's been. So
and Galecki was a student of Martin Donovan.
He was a student of Martin Donovan's. So he
that's right.
in retaliation.
His character's name is Jason Bach.
Jason Bach?
Yeah. I have a friend from Olympia who is also a gay man who has a name very close. It's only one letter different.
Oh.
And then I also dated someone with the last name Bach.
Oh, that's right. I was like, why does that last name sound familiar? Oh, that's fine. So, oh yeah, no, you're fine. So Johnny Galecki starts because he's pissed because Martin Donovan isn't getting him in touch with Ivan Sergei, even though Martin Donovan doesn't know where Ivan Sergei is. Johnny Galecki tells people that Martin Donovan assaulted him when he was a teacher, or like when he was going to school there.
Right.
So it's like this whole thing happens where like Martin Donovan becomes like obsessed with finding Ivan Sergei to bring him back to tell Johnny Galecki, Jason, to like retract his statement or whatever.
Right.
And then when they end up finding them, it's like there's so much to it. It's like it really isn't that complicated, but like telling it sounds more complicated. Yeah. When they find them, like Christina Ricci is like very much more pregnant than she should be for being like very, not very far along. Like she's supposed to be 4 months pregnant. She looks like she's like 6 or 7 months pregnant. And they're like, that seems like the timeline isn't right.
And they're trying to get money. Then you say this? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I don't think so. They stole all Martin Donovan's savings or whatever when they left.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah. And then they ask him for more money when he finds them. Imagine like running away with someone's shit. And like then when they find you being like, okay, but we need more. So like,
yeah,
family.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like it's a whole thing where like it ends up to where like Christina Ricci, like she had a boyfriend in, Louisiana who
did take some notes.
The boyfriend got her pregnant. The boyfriend from Louisiana.
Oh, one ball?
Yeah. He got her pregnant and then
we don't actually know for sure though, right? Because
I think
it's either him or stepdad, right?
Well, I think she says this. It was the stepdad's, and Lucia's like, I don't actually believe you,
right?
Because she's like saying like the reason why she lied about it was because she didn't want to admit that it was her stepfather's or whatever. And Lucia's like, yeah, I think you're lying about that. And then I assumed that it was the kids because she's saying like, remember when the baby comes out, she's like, how many balls does it have?
Boy. It's a boy. It's a beautiful baby boy.
Do me a favor. Count his balls.
Yeah, but like it basically ends up to where like, Martin Donovan's been like very emotionally distant from everyone because he's been sort of living in the past,
Right.
He misses his partner who died. And so he's just kind of like, no one will ever live up to him. So why bother? Which is apparent in a relationship, when
right.
your partner doesn't give a shit about you, you kind of sense that.
I wouldn't know.
Neither would I. Yeah. So it's, whatever. It ends with Christina Ricci has the baby, and then Martin Donovan like takes care of it while she goes to jail because she killed the baby's father.
She go to jail?
Yeah, she goes to jail. She goes to jail, and then she gets out. It has like probation or whatever, and she has to like live with Martin Donovan, and it's a whole thing. Yeah, there's like there's a lot of like. Here's how this end, like it's just like a montage of narration,
right?
So it's easy to forget, but
yeah.
This quote I wrote down, I don't remember which part it's from, but it says, "Help me kill yourself," which made me laugh. And another one, I don't remember which part this was from, but I know that Dee Dee said this. She says, he looks peaceful, probably an orphan. Like, I was like, what? What does that mean? An orphan is what? Like, so I have no idea.
Because they have no family, I guess.
I guess, but yeah, I don't know. That was funny to me. Is there another one? Oh, also Lucia, like, there's some line, I think it's when they're telling her that, or I don't remember when it is, but she's like, hey, guess what? I know how my own name is pronounced. Which I'm like, oh man, yeah.
Right.
That feels familiar. To me.
Yeah, Lucia is just the best character, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good. They're all good.
Yeah,
I just feel like the combination of how she's written with Kudra's performance really sells it for me.
Yeah.
Like, again, everybody else is really... Also, Johnny Galecki was really
oh my God.
so perfect as like an obnoxious little gay.
Oh God. Yes, right?
With he's got a brand new looking Jeep that he drives, and it's referenced that he has a lot of piercings.
Yes.
So he's clearly comes from some privilege.
Right. I'm gonna. Oh fuck. I'm gonna.
There are. I
Hit
won't
the-
warn people that there are. So the director writer and director is a gay man.
Yes.
But there are a lot of F words.
Yes.
Not fuck words. Fag words.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And people using terms like fairy and
Yeah. It's a lot of there's a lot of homophobic language, but and it is played for laughs, but it's it's one of those things where it's it doesn't, because it feels because it is from the perspective, it's written by a gay person,
right.
It's written it's directed by a gay person. It really doesn't feel bad to hear it.
Yeah, because you're laughing at the person who's talking that way.
Correct. Yeah, it's done because it's done written from queer people. It's if you're getting the joke, it doesn't
right.
feel like you're the joke, or
right.
It feels like you're oh, this is funny, oh, this person is saying this dumb thing, I don't know, it's done really well in my opinion, and I feel that's why it was so funny to me. But I'm gonna read this is what Johnny Galecki's character says. He's interviewed on TV, and it's all bleeped out, so it's not as you see his mouth moving, but it's any super offensive thing. But here's what he's saying when he gets interviewed about the supposed abuse.
If I save one kid from from having his totally until it looks like the Lincoln Tunnel and he can't stand up for 3 weeks, then maybe all of this is worth something. Teachers everywhere have to learn that no means no, at least until we've dropped out.
I also like the intergenerational gay rant that when Martin Donovan confronts Jason Bach.
Yeah.
Grabs him by the nipple ring.
Yeah. Oh my God. Which is the quote is he's twisting, it's twisting Jason's nipple ring.
Through his shirt.
Listen here, you little. It's so funny. That's in the descriptor though. That's when in the dialogue, because the dialogue's on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's the descriptor. Right. Anyway, whatever. I don't know if any of that. Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why this movie. I don't even remember if I was stoned when we watched this. I just remember I thought it was so fucking funny. Every time.
It's really funny.
But it was specifically every time Christina Ricci, every time Dee Dee was saying something horribly homophobic, I was just laughing my ass off because it's so. Because I think it's it rings true to a lot of misinformation that you get from Southern
she says
religious shit,
she says some shit about AIDS and catching it from something you would never catch it from.
Right.
And the thing with how do you know if you're gay?
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Early on, she has the exchange with Lucia where she's like, "Oh, Martin Donovan is pretty cute for being 35. Too bad he's a fairy, right?" That exchange is really funny.
Yes, so many. It's just but yeah, like you said, it's it's done in a way that makes the person saying it look no one here thinks I don't know. It's
at the same time, I do appreciate that it's okay, these are all middle class people.
Yeah.
That she's upsetting.
Yeah.
With her language.
True.
So it's a little bit of. I mean, mainly it's Lucia, but
Also, I like how unfazed Martin Donovan is through most of it. He's just I don't.
Yeah.
I really this little 16-year-old doesn't do okay, she's saying dumb shit. I don't care. Yeah. And Lucia's
at the same time,
I can't believe it. But Martin Donovan's just whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
At the
she's
same
a
time,
child,
he's upset. He's basically obsessed with tracking him down and trying to get back Matt.
Yeah. Even though he like seemingly doesn't actually give that much of a shit about him.
Right.
So it's that.
And then you have that scene where Lucia kind of confronts him about it. And he's like, "Don't say it's love. It's just about sex."
Yeah. But even that, he's just like he keeps trying to like dismiss her and be like, he's like, I'm tired.
Right.
I don't really want to. And he's like, not really. Yeah. I think that's an interesting scene too.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, I don't know.
It's a movie that has kind of a lot of monologues in a way, right? Like a lot of one character just stating a belief kind of monologue, you know? But none of them are tedious.
Yeah.
To its credit, you know, like, because that's real tricky to do, to pull off, you know?
Yeah.
And it's almost because very few of them are monologues. They actually happen in dialogue. Even if the dialogue even if the other character is not doing, doesn't have a lot of lines by comparison, it makes it feel more natural.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
The exceptions being Dee Dee's narration, obviously, because it's one-sided. But
also I feel like there's something about this movie that, like, as ridiculous as, like, synopsis?
yeah, that works.
What? The plot makes it sound way more fantastical than it actually looks on screen. Or, when, like, watching it, you're like, oh, of course, like, this makes sense for the world. Like, they do a good job kind of world building in the sense of, like... Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. I was worried I wasn't, because I remember the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, oh, I don't get it. And it's not the, like, dirty, raunchy, like, movie that I was expecting it to be. But like rewatching it now, I was like, oh, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed watching, like, it was enjoyable to watch as a film. Yeah. And not just because of Martin Donovan, mainly because of Martin Donovan, but not only because of Martin Donovan.
For me, I think it's mainly Lisa Kudrow.
Wow.
I don't know. It's a really good ensemble.
It is.
Like, they really work.
Yeah.
It just works. It just works. Okay, there's no words to describe it.
Also, I do like
it defies analysis.
I like in the end how, like, I mean, we don't really meet him, but the implication is that Martin Donovan, like, did end up, like, sort of settling down with someone that isn't Ivan Sergei. Like, he's...
How do they meet? I forget who it is.
Oh, I don't know if we see how they meet. We just see them together with the baby.
Yeah, right.
You're like, is it not? I'm like, I don't know if we get their meeting. We just see them together.
Well, we're told. Isn't he like a lawyer or something?
I literally have no idea.
Sorry. Jesus.
But I keep saying, I don't think they tell us, and you keep being like, but they say this.
I think they do.
I'm like, I don't.
But
it's fine. I'm just saying, like, that should imply that my recollection is not that I'm going, whatever. So, I like that their implication is, like, that he does, like, confront that shit of, like, idealizing the partner that he lost and not, like, letting anyone replace them. And instead he, like, not to say, like, he does replace him. I don't mean it like that, but, like, he does
what seems like a more mature
and
healthy.
It's seemingly he's, it's like, because he's the one taking care of the baby, and, like, they're taking care of the baby together, which implies that, like, he has found someone who is, like,
capable of that.
Yeah, capable of, like, having a relationship, and I don't know. And
being a family.
Right.
Family.
Yeah. What happened to the family cat?
I also want to bring up, like, another thing I find enjoyable is Lucia and Lyle Lovett's characters dynamic.
That was one I did not enjoy as a teen.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I'm like, this is amazing.
It's really great.
The scene where he's at her, he, like, brings her beer. Like she's
yeah.
just given Martin Donovan the speech about not giving a shit about sex and how she would rather have her hair shampooed or have a back rub.
Yeah.
And he says something about like he'd love to give her a back rub or something, but he like has like a case of beer and he's like, oh, I had to get shampoo. And he like bought shampoo and beer. And then like she kisses him and he drops both of them. And she takes him into her hotel room. And then she opens the door and grabs the bottle of shampoo. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking funny. Like she leaves, like no one gives a shit about the beer. She just grabs the bottle of shampoo. And I was like, oh man, that's, to me now, I'm like, that's amazing.
It's really sweet and
yeah.
romantic in
yeah,
a way.
yeah.
But not overdone. It's like a very short scene.
Yes.
Which I appreciate.
And the implication is that, like...
It's also clear that he's overheard some of...
Right, yeah. But the implication is sort of that, like... It's not, like... It's about intimacy, as opposed to, like... I need to get laid.
Right.
It's more about, like... I want to have a connection, which is what I take from, like, the shampoo. Which I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I kind of hate that whole thing of, like, just getting laid thing. I kind of hate that narrative.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you just need to get laid. Because, like, some people don't operate that way. Like, some people don't enjoy
Which is
that.
kind of how they...
I don't know what's going on out there. Yeah. Right. Like, it's... Yeah.
Martin Donovan almost says as much to her in that exchange right before that scene with Lyle Lovett.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get out more.
Yeah.
But then there's an exchange between Matt, Ivan Sergei, and Dee Dee. Mm-hmm. How he's like, what if... It's not one of my favorites, but that character argues, like, what if sex is just, like, concentration? Like, you being focused on one other person so intently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's another theme.
Right.
That recurs.
Yeah.
You done?
What?
I don't know. Easy.
Oh, I was just thinking about that scene.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have any more notes to add, really. But yeah, I don't know. It was more enjoyable this time than I was worried I was going to be bored or I was going to like, it was going to be, you know, that thing when you watch a movie as a youngster and you're like, oh, I'm going to watch this now. And then you see like a lot of really, really fucked up things. And you're like, ooh, I mean, not to say that this movie definitely has fucked up things in it, but the fucked up things are not like, it wasn't like, oh, this was fine at the time. It like acknowledges, you know what I mean? Like,
not quite.
Well, it's not like how she's like 16 and she hooks up with, you know, the boyfriend who's in his 20s and they're like, you know, she's a kid, right? Like this isn't like, this is fucked up. You know, it's like, it's not just like, she's not like, she's not the villain, but she's not a hero. She's not a good person. She's not marketed as a good person. Like she is very much like, but they are also like, she's a kid. Okay. And there's a lot of like sort of allowances given to her that I don't feel are wrong. Like they do kind of forgive her for doing this stuff because she's a kid, you know, and it's like she's the one that forgets that. They don't. Like they keep trying to like remind her like you're a fucking child, you know.
Right.
And I think, you know, they don't get that totally perfect, but the things like that where it's like you're not watching it and they're not like making her like a fully fledged adult and shaming her and making her, you know, the villain of the story and the person who, you know, is at fault for everything. They're like, everything that's fucked up that you've done has been a response to something you're going through. And there's a lot of like, you know, even Lisa Kudrow, like Lucia, she like doesn't like her, but she's still like, we're gonna like take care of you and we're gonna take care of the baby kind of thing. Like, because they know she's a kid, you know?
Yeah, right.
And I feel like a lot of times especially in 90s movies, they did the thing where they made kids Lolitas. Like, they love doing, like, the Lolita thing of, like, oh, she's 14, but she knew what she was doing. And you're like, no.
Right. And then also the character is supposed to be a teen is played by someone well into their 20s, so they don't look like a child.
Yeah. I mean, that might have been the case here. Like, Christina Ricci might have been, like, an adult.
She was at least 18 because there's a thing there's something in the credits. It's like.
There is?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay. I'm unfamiliar.
No minor was used to portray any sexually explicit conduct.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, that's cool that whatever, that they have to disclaimer that.
Well, I don't know if they have to, but.
Okay. That's fair. Anyway, I feel like that's something that you, like, in a 90s, you know, even early aughts movie, like, you know, I feel like, I'm not saying, like, I'm definitely not trying to imply the opposite of sex is, like, they did everything perfectly or, like, nothing's offensive or, like, you're going to watch it and be like, this is such an uplifting, heartwarming film. You know, they do a lot of offensive things and it's done, you know, for laughs, for sure. But I feel like you know, there are, I don't know, it felt like more real than it did. Like, it felt like it was trying to give, like, a more realistic
I think
look at how a really fucked up family dynamic can be.
Yeah. Having seen it when I was much younger, I was a little nervous.
Right.
But because I had, like, thought I figured something out about it, you know, like, intellectually or literarily speaking, I'm like, oh, there must be more to it than I want to figure out more.
Mm-hmm.
And
that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, but I laughed a lot more this time.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's just me, but I think the humor, the type of humor, aged well because I feel like it's a lot more things are use that type of humor.
Yeah.
It's more commonplace. And also the family dynamics, like you're showing that you were talking about, like, it's real messy.
Yeah.
But I think that's, you know, we also see a lot more of that now. I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's done in a particular way that is really crafty and
it doesn't feel super like, what do you call it when, like, something doesn't like, when you're, like,
anachronistic?
Yeah. Like, it feels like it, like you said, like, it aged well. Like, it doesn't feel like you don't watch it and you go, oh, this was clearly, I mean, other than all of the fashion and the fact that there's, like, no internet or cell phones, like, you're not watching it being like, oh, this is definitely a 90s movie.
Also,
like,
it's not the fucking Ice Storm, you know what I mean? It's not like
right.
a heavy
Also,
realist drama about a mixed family, you know, a blended family or whatever.
It's not a tragi-gay story either.
Correct.
Which, I mean, like, yes, they
despite the fact that someone has died of AIDS.
Right, but that's, like, what I appreciate about that is that he's just someone that's, like, despite the fact that he, like, has, like, almost no dialogue, if he even has dialogue, you only see, like, glimpses of him. He's almost like a fully fledged character, and, like, it's done in a way that, like, he's, you know, he's not just, like, a plot point, you know, he's someone that, like, you know who he is throughout the film, you know, you see him and you're like, oh, I know who this is. You're not like, wait, who is this supposed to be again? Like, he's not like someone that they just burst in and talk about, you know, and so it's like,
but at the same time, it's not a ghost that's haunting everybody.
Correct.
I mean, it is. I mean, that's how he's talked about it a little bit. But, like, you don't feel that, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done in a way that's, like, it's a real story. It's not played for tears. His name isn't brought up to make you sad.
Right.
You know? And so it's, like, so for me, like, I'm like, oh yeah, it's talking about like the heaviness and the difficulty of someone dying of AIDS, and that being like your first relationship is someone dies of this awful thing that should have never been what it was, and like how that can affect the rest of your life, and how you have to deal with that. It doesn't matter just because you're queer, it doesn't mean that you don't have to still deal with these traumas.
Right.
You know, to have a healthy, normal life. Like the rules still apply, kind of like you still have to take responsibility, and you still have to take ownership, and you still have to move on, and you still have to do all of these things that are hard, you know. And not to say like you don't get away, like I'm making it sound like I'm saying like, oh, if you're queer, you don't just get to be easy, but it's like you still deserve
Normally.
happiness.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
Right,
Like
right,
you
right.
still have to. Oh, you turned it over. I thought you turned it off. Haha, all the lights were
Sorry.
on. I was like, oh no. You still deserve happiness, is what I mean. Like you
Right.
still have to, you know, like deal with this shit so that you can achieve that, you know, because you deserve that. Like, and a lot of, I think, as a queer person who, you know, when bad things happen, sometimes my brain will be like, it's 'cause you're gay. Like, that's not true. Like, just because you're a queer person doesn't mean that you don't deserve to have a lasting, meaningful relationship. So I think, I don't know. I think that's something that I didn't get the first time around, where it was like, it's not, it's about like, yeah, it's about like healthy, like being healthy.
Right.
You know, and not like in the sense of like literal, like, you know, physical health, but like working towards, like, you can come from a fucked up dynamic, you can have a fucked up dynamic. It doesn't mean that it has to stay fucked up.
Right.
You can make it work, and you can make things better, and you can give love and receive love. And that's okay, you know? And I think that's like an underlying thing of like, no one deserves, you know, tragedy. No one deserves that stuff. Like when that happens, it is a tragedy, but it doesn't mean that you deserved it, you know?
Right.
So, whatever. Or maybe it's just a funny movie.
It's just candy, man. Yeah, that's one thing. The Jason Bach character doing a false allegation. That's the part I feel like if that was in a movie now, I'd be like, why are you doing that?
But I will say this. I mean, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting.
I'm sure it felt that way. I mean, I imagine it felt that way at the time too.
But
why are you doing that? Meaning, why put that in a movie?
Well, yes. No, I know. What I'm going to say is, it is interesting though that it is all middle class white people.
Yes.
So that's where I'm like, oh, I feel like this isn't too far off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're not going to give me what I want, I'm going to ruin your life. Yeah. And kind of feeling like that's an obligation almost. Like, okay, this is what I have to do since you're not doing what I want you to do.
Right.
And I feel like like white men, you know, so it doesn't, like, I'm not saying like I disagree with you. Like, yeah, it's still, it's like, ugh, do we really need this? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that kind of tracks for white men not getting their way.
Yeah, right. I mean, the other part of it is that, again, Martin Donovan's character is pretty unfazed by it.
Yeah.
He's just like, whatever. Lucia, on the other hand, is like, it's going to ruin your reputation. Yeah. I mean, you know, this...
I thought you were going to say appetite, the way that thought started. It's going to ruin your appetite.
Or you could go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, also Carl says that. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, we got to take this seriously. You know, like, he's like, whatever. Who cares about this kid? You know, like, it's going to blow over. I just want to find Matt.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Right.
In a way.
But I think, and yeah, I think it's done to show how he's kind of given up on giving a shit about anything.
Yeah.
Like, literally, his life could get, like, he could go to jail for, like, someone making a false accusation, and he's like, whatever happens, happens, man. I don't care. And everyone's kind of, like, around him is like, this is serious, and this isn't something to just shrug off. And he's just like, whatever. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying that this movie is perfect, but I think it's done to show how much apathy he actually has, and how much he doesn't, like, you know, because it's like, they're like, he lost his job, but he doesn't care. Like, he gets, like, let go, and he's just like, whatever. Like, I'll just be at home then. And, like, people are literally throwing bricks through his window, and he just starts making a garden with the bricks that people throw through his window, you know. And so it's, like, that's really, really showing that, like, he absolutely has no fight in him whatsoever. He's just given up. That's how I took it.
Interesting.
You know, like, his priorities have been very much skewed, and he has, like, no self-worth, essentially. He's just like, whatever. Okay. And that's kind of what I mean about the whole... You think that's
because of...
Yeah, because his partner, you know, like, I lost my partner, I'm gay, you know, like, this horrible thing happened to me, like, why am I, you know, like, what matters, you know? Like, I'm never going to be that happy again. I'm never going to have that again. So, okay, fine.
You can't hurt me.
Right.
We're already dead. We just watched, I watched, you watched a lot of it with me.
Yeah.
A 3-part video by Maggie Mae Fish, who's a new YouTuber I've encountered who does film analysis on Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
And boy, do I never want to watch any of his movies. Again. Not that I ever had much inkling to, but... I
mean, you watch Watchmen.
Well, yes. I'm not saying I haven't seen any.
I thought...
I don't want to watch any that I haven't seen.
Yeah. I do... Yeah.
Anyway, she's great. I like her stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
She has a good one on Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And one that I really want you to watch about, she compares The Shining and Coppola to, not Coppola. Damn it, I got that from you.
Thank you.
Kubrick, and she compares The Shining to Lost Highway.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me that. I haven't seen Lost Highway. Though,
and,
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't have anything else to say about the opposite of sex. Except for I have to pee. What?
I wanted to confess that I had made up in my mind that also around this time in the 90s that Martin Donovan played a gay in another movie.
Yeah.
And it turns out I had just mashed together, I guess, this movie along with a movie called Hollow Reed that he's in.
That is not a gay.
Not gay at all.
After you mention it, so after we watched Tenet, I was so mad that I just went on like an 1.5-hour rant about how much I hate that movie and also Chris Nolan and all of Chris Nolan's movies. It's not, I don't necessarily hate all of his movies. I just hate everything he does. And so Keith started recording that, and there's like a chunk of you talking about Martin Donovan, like in a movie where he's like being gay with someone.
Yeah,
and I was really Keith
apologized.
Keith apologized to me for getting my hopes up for this movie and then letting me down.
And to myself.
Yeah.
I've also let myself down.
I mean, that's fair.
The other film that I seemingly smashed it together with is Beautiful Thing, which is like, you know, if memory serves, which clearly it's not reliable. It's just a coming of age gay romance.
Beautiful Thing. Okay. Beautiful Thing. What is that one about?
I just said it's a coming of age gay romance.
Okay. I'm more meant like who's in it and like what's it.
It's British, about. So and independent, so from the 90s. I don't know anybody that.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
Martin Donovan.
A+.
Can get it.
Yeah.
60s. I'm going to say probably even when he's 70. Can get it.
When I'm 65. Web Therapy. I watched a little bit of that. Funny.
Yeah,
also
it is
written
funny.
and created by
I've
Don
seen a
Roos
little
and
bit
Lisa
of it.
Kudrow.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
Steven Weber as a recurring character.
Fan favorite.
I have not seen Happy Endings, which he also wrote and directed.
Don
Roos.
Yeah.
Don Ruscio.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But Tom Arnold's in it, so it can't be all that good.
That joke's good even the second time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That one's one of those, that one's more, like, oh, isn't it sad that everyone's life is sad? I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's less.
It's also like interweaving stories, right?
Yeah. People love doing that after Love Actually. Once Love Actually came out, everyone's like, I know, let's do something where everyone's secretly connected to the other in the most obscure ways.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Oh, it isn't. Oh, yeah, Lisa Kudrow's in Happy Endings, isn't she?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Clearly, they like working together. So
yeah, clearly. Okay.
And work well together, I would say.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.
I'll talk to you all tomorrow. I'm beat.